In a world full of distractions, there is one big question on every dog owner's lips.
How do I become more than just the person holding the other end of the leash?
We all get dogs with a dream in mind, a vision of the future. And if right now your everyday reality isn't quite that picture you had in mind, you are in the right place.
It really doesn't have to be this way.
You absolutely can and will be more to your dog than just the person who gets in between them and the world.
The key is you need to be more sexy.
More sexy than the neighbourhood cat.
More sexy than the jogger in the park.
More sexy than that half-eaten hamburger they just found on the floor.
And yes, even more sexy than the dog across the road.
I'm Tom.
And I'm Lauren.
Together we're Absolute Dogs.
And you're listening to the Sexier Than a Squirrel podcast.
Welcome to this spooky episode of the Sexier Than a Squirrel podcast, because it is Halloween and we've got to prepare for the things that Halloween might throw at our dogs.
Now, Halloween throws the unexpected, the novelty, maybe some different noises, maybe some different looks, maybe some different shadows, maybe novel within your own sort of household. I know friends of mine, they're in the US and they definitely do big Halloween parties and big sort of street, sort of crazy parties, actually. And so actually the amount of novelty for their dogs is actually pretty huge. Now, obviously, depending on where you are in the world, Halloween may or may not affect you to the same degree. Pumpkins, candlelight flickers, a bit of maybe trick or treat. You know what? It does depend on where you are as to what you might need to think about.
But actually, if we look at this as an opportunity, there's an opportunity for each and every one of you listening to really grow your dog's confidence and optimism in this time. So, little recap, optimism is your dog responding to new, novel, slightly strange things as something good, something nothing to worry about, something that's really none of their business. Now, a cool little strategy that you can use to do that, and you can absolutely make it Halloween themed, is to get a bunch of novel objects, chuck them into the middle of the room, and actually just reward your dog for being, first of all, actually just even being in the presence of them, and then secondly, for actually getting involved in them a little bit, scattering some of their daily food allowance in there.
If you're part of the training academy, we call this novelty party.
Yeah.
You might have seen it before, or you might see lots of other games that are really destined for building confidence. So what we're looking to do here is build confidence. Noise box, knock 'em over. We've got a whole array of games that are going to suit you for Halloween and realistically for life, because what we're talking about is the novelty surprise element of a different event, and that's exactly what Halloween is. It's just another novel event.
Absolutely.
Right, Tom?
And the cool thing is that regardless of whether Halloween is a thing where you are or not, it's a great opportunity to actually revisit this idea of a novelty party and incorporating that more into your training plans to grow your dog's brain in a great direction.
Now, one thing you can do, and again, depending on you and where you live, actually you can maybe pre-alert people to the fact that you have dogs, popping up little signs on doors and actually allowing yourself to feel a little bit more I suppose protected. I know one friend of mine, she popped a sign on the door and popped treats well away from the door, just so that actually she'd pre-prepared Halloween almost before it ever happened. Note on the door to say, please do not knock, we have dogs, they will bark, sweets are at the end of the driveway, don't come any further, or here's where the sweets are, really appreciated. So there are options to actually safeguard, and whilst doing that, do exactly what you said, Tom, grow the confidence in another direction and probably still protect the confidence we have. So those can almost go as a bit of a two-prong attack.
Absolutely. Third thing that you're going to want to think about in the lead up to this is actually just growing a level of calmness, because it may well be that your regular walks or actually the things that your dog's exposed to, even actually within their own kind of home environment, it's changing. There's going to be novelty, and we can grow optimism, but actually we have to understand that change is bucket filling. That bucket that fills and fills with exciting things, strange things, scary things, and overflows and causes that reactivity episode, chances are your dog's going to have a fuller bucket in this period. So let's really try and make the home environment as spa-like as possible, inspiring calmness, growing calmness, thinking about your passive calming activities like your long-lasting chews, your filled bones, your lickable canine calm mats, having those ready in the freezer so that you can deploy them as needed in response to how your dog's bucket is looking.
Now, another thing I would think about leading up to Halloween is actually, if you are using something like Calm Supplement, fantastic. Equally, if you're not, that's probably the right time to do it, way before you actually need it on the day. I think it's also a fantastic thing to be using around fireworks night. So in the UK, November the 5th, Guy Fawkes night, firework night. I absolutely really dislike fireworks, and at the same time I need to appreciate that they are part of, at the moment, what we have in the UK. And so rather than fight what we have that I don't enjoy, actually why don't I focus on what I can do, which is make sure my dog is at their best space and in the best calm place they can be. And for me, Calm Supplement supports my dogs and allows me to feel a little bit better. What do you think, Tom?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, supporting your dog's gut and brain in this time, when actually those things are potentially going to be a little bit challenged because of that filling bucket, impacting your dog's gut microbiome and their general gut wellness, and also impacting their brain wellness, which in turn, both of those are going to really impact their behavior. So the reason why Calm Canine gets such amazing results, and it's got thousands of reviews, is because it's multi-targeted. It's impacting your dog's brain, their gut, and also their behavior, and really through superfoods, right? It's not a drug. It's through foods that have some level of activity on your dog's gut, brain, and behavior.
So effectively, you're delivering superfoods into your dog. Your dog has the opportunity to take on board those superfoods, and you're doing a good job all round, which I think is a nice space. Okay, next one, and I think this is a really important one. How about you? How are you feeling about it? So I've got a friend, and she's like, oh my God, it's the worst time of the year. I hate that time of the year. I get so stressed. She gets so stressed. It's all terrible. It's going to be horrendous. In fact, it's got worse and worse each year. I now have to take medication. She now has to take medication. It's terrible. And I kind of think to myself, you've made this so much worse than it needed to be, because what you're doing is you're massively focusing on the problem, you're exploding the problem, and actually you're stressing everyone else around you. Now, what could we do instead?
Yeah, absolutely. First thing that you could do is you could think about some if-then scenarios. So you could think about, for example, if somebody does knock at the door, then I do this, right? I don't know. I grab a handful of food that's in a bowl right next to the door or in the living room, and I throw it to the floor.
Or I take my dog and I pop them in their puppy pen, their crate, their safe space, the kitchen, the diner, wherever it is that's further away from the door. You have a strategy, so you know what to do. What if? What if when I am walking down the road, there is a loud bang behind me, or someone shouts out and is much more exuberant in party period than they would normally be. Actually, what I do is I do a distract, mark, treat. I do an A to B. So I run my hand down that lead, I slide it down to the collar, and I turn them in the other direction as I feed them some of their daily food allowance. And all of these games are from the Training Academy. Lots of these games are in Sexy Than a Squirrel. So if you're not already part of these are the programs to be involved in. And email our Ask team. That's our customer service team. ask@absolute-dogs.com if you have any questions about what's the right training path for you. Because for me, the most important thing that we do is that we empower ourselves and we arm ourselves, and we don't kind of we don't pre-write how it's going to go. We actually write it in the right way.
Absolutely. And you know, the kind of thing to add to that, and the final thing that I think is really important to say, is often we hear from people that get their dogs, you know, Christmas gifts or birthday gifts or Halloween gifts, or any opportunity, get them a gift. You really cannot get your dog any better gift than a brain that is shaped to best deal with the environment they find themselves in. The gift of calmness, the gift of optimism. And so see all these opportunities. Oh, you see, I can't help myself. All these opportunities. See all of these times that potentially you could see as challenges and problems, actually as opportunities to further hone and shape that brain for the world that your dog lives in.
I think that most of all, guys, you get to decide this, and this is your responsibility responsibility that you're going to take on board for your dog.
Yeah.
I think it's a really, really cool opportunity. I think that all of your dogs are able to rock this, as are you. And if you're going to think about starting your dog's sort of calm protocols and calm supplements and increasing calm in their lives, now is the best time. In fact, there couldn't be a better time.
Absolutely. So with that, guys, happy Halloween. We will see you next week. See it as an opportunity. And remember, stay sexy. Hey, before you go, have you taken part in the worldwide Sexier Than a Squirrel Challenge?
It's a 25-day online video program, huge energy, amazing community, and over 6,000 people are already taking part.
The only question is, you know where you are today. Where do you want to be 25 days from now? Head to absolutedogs.me/sexy.